What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be breaking down the latest stable patch for the Xbox. Here we're on the Xbox here, and I'm running the latest version, which is 1.11.36. We're going to be testing out the frame rate capabilities of the new Series X, as well as go through some of the new gameplay options. I already went through some of this in a video a few weeks ago, but it was a beta update for Steam. So today we are doing a full console breakdown, see if anything's changed, and test out this new performance mode on the Xbox Series X. So let's get into it. So here we are, we're on a standard planet. I'm gonna exit out of my ship and we're gonna test out this new FPS mode that should have been with the game on launch. But that's besides the point, at least we have it now. So I'm gonna go into my settings here. Display. And just so you guys know, I think this only is available on the Xbox Series X. I don't think it's available on the Series S, unfortunately. Maybe in the future they'll be able to bring something to the Series S like 1080p at 60 FPS or something along those lines. But for now, this is a Xbox Series X exclusive setting. So here you've got your target frame rate, 30 or 60. And if you have a VRR display, I think you can do 40. As soon as I changed it to 60, you can see that it changed it to performance mode immediately. Now you can also do 30 with performance mode. If you're like, oh man, I'm struggling to get 30. I hope that's not the case. If you're struggling to get 30 on your Xbox Series X, you've probably got some dust buildup. Might want to take a look at that. But anyway, here we go. We're going to put it on 60. We're going to keep VSync on. The rest of these settings will keep the same. And it's probably hard to tell, but from my end, this is like night and day. And as a PC user, I typically play on PC. I mean, I can tell instantly. Especially if you do like your spin test, where you're spinning around to see if you can notice a lot of frame rate jumps. So if I go into my settings here, change it back to 30 on visuals, and then we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna jump up in the air and do our spin test. You can see it is a little glitchy, and I don't know if you can actually see this in the video because I know that the Xbox is rendering the recording at 60 FPS. However, the game is running at 30 and it's very obvious when you do the spin test. So I won't try to get you guys too dizzy here. Go ahead and change that setting back to the 60 FPS mode. Performance, VSync. Oh yeah, I mean this is great. This is a very, very welcome addition to this game. It looks great. I don't really notice too much of a difference between the visuals and performance mode. So your performance mode is going to take down some of the visual textures, like what you got here. But I'm not noticing a very big difference. And if you go ahead and you watch Digital Foundry's video, where they did the full in-depth analysis of the performance, if you guys are familiar with Digital Foundry, even they didn't notice a huge difference between the two modes. So personally, if I have the option on console to play at a higher frame rate, like 60 FPS, I will take that every time and sacrifice whatever visual quality you essentially lose out on. I found a ship here. Oh man, it's a UC Vanguard, so we can't steal it. Oh, we'll also show you guys the new map. I also went through that a little bit in my last video, but it was a beta. So this is the stable release. So we're gonna show you guys the new map. I'm gonna show you guys the new gameplay options. And then I'm gonna check some performance areas with the new 60 FPS mode on console. So the next thing we're gonna do here, we're gonna try to go to Alpha Centauri. Yep, can't sit in this seat. Hey, if you guys know how to steal Vanguard ships, let me know. There's some pretty cool ships. I don't think it is possible to steal a Vanguard ship. It always tells me I'm not authorized, but I could be wrong on that one. Let's go ahead and go to Alpha Centauri and do a quick performance test. Another thing I came to find out on console, or if you're using a controller on Steam, if you hold the start button, it'll bring up your map. Typically, I mean, I just found this out, which is, I don't know, maybe a little embarrassing, but I've always just been pressing the start button and then scrolling over the star map. So it's just one less button press that you have to do. I just found that out a few days ago. Good old Jemison. All right. Okay, so I can tell already, as an avid PC player, that this is not 60, but it is higher than 30. This is about 45 FPS. And even in some areas, like right there, right on this ramp, I was seeing a little bit of a performance increase. But again, I will take increased frame rate, even if it is higher than 30. Sometimes I have a Steam Deck as well, and sometimes I'll play at 40 FPS. That's also pretty solid. So if you have a VRR display, you can set it to 40, and it'll still be a pretty big difference from the 30 FPS mode. So, okay, running around here, I can definitely tell there's some room for improvement, but it seems like overall, if you're on different planets or if you're in your ship, you're gonna get a nice smooth 60 FPS. This doesn't really bother me with like the frame rate going up and down, especially considering I have a high refresh rate screen that can do 4K 120 Hertz. But if you had a 60 Hertz screen, it might be a little more noticeable. All right, next up here, I'm gonna check out these new settings. So I already went through these a little bit, like I said in my last video, and I don't think any of them changed from the beta. They all look the same to me. Now I went ahead and changed some of the ones that I wanted to for a kind of a new playthrough. Well, this is the same save, but I just changed some of these settings to make the game a little more interesting. So increase carry capacity, that'll increase it to about 750 or so. If you have it maxed out in your perks. Vendor credits, we have increased this. Now, I was wondering if I should do a greatly increased, and this is where I'm going to do a quick test. I'm going to talk to this guy. He typically has 72,000 credits, I believe. Let's see how much he has now.
I'm sure you can find something you like.
How we rocking? Oh, I must have sold to him recently. What do you mean 7,000 credits? Okay. Well, we'll test that out in a different place in a bit here. Let's go check out some of the other settings. So carry capacity we already went over. Sleep healing, I did limited location because I thought it was already that you could only restore your health in your ship or outposts and settlements. So that's not going to be a change for me because I'm already used to doing that anyway. And then I changed environmental damage and afflictions to advanced. This setting here is how I think they originally intended for this game to be before they launched it, because they have all these planets with these adverse weather, and they have suits that have different perks for the weather. However, if you have it on normal mode, you're like not affected by it barely at all. So in this circumstance, it changes it to be environmental damage and afflictions are gained from hazards, weathers, and ambiently on dangerous planets. So in those situations where the planet is either icy cold or super hot, you should see some differences. I'm going to test that out on Venus, see what happens here. And then environmental damage restoration. I just did the same thing, sleeping in your ship or outpost. And then I left the rest the same, and we came out to a plus 2% XP. So everything's pretty evened out. I really like the way I set it up there with those settings. Obviously, it's all personal preference. You can set it to any settings you want, but those are the ones that I prefer. So, see, muscle memory, I did it there again. And while we're in here, I might as well show you guys the new map. So this is the new map system. This is Jemison, and it's super nice because you can see all of your different shops all the way through here. And I'm sure there's some that I haven't even been to, so it's kind of nice that they have them all labeled on the map. And then these orange, you can see your ship right there. And then you can see some of the other ships in orange. And it goes the same for other planets, where you can see the ships. And when ships land on planets, which by the way, they fixed, there are now ships landing on planets. So they fixed that glitch that was in the last update. You can see what the ships look like and zoom in on them and decide if it's worth your time to try to commandeer one of those ships. So I think that's a really welcome addition. The new map in this game is honestly awesome. So, and another thing really quick I'll show you guys. If you pull out your scanner and you look around, you can see all of those shops that were shown on the map are shown in your scanner too. So this is another addition to the game where you can be like, okay, wait, where was that? And then you can go ahead and just track it and then start running to that location. So that's another pretty cool thing that I found. So off to Venus to test out this adverse weather, and then we'll stop by Mars and see what kind of vendor credit increase we're seeing, since I supposedly sold my ships at some point to Jemison, I guess pretty recently. All right, let's land on the hot side and see if we burn into a crisp when we exit our ship. Huh. So maybe I just have a good suit. So I'm still not really noticing the adverse effects of the different weather. I would assume Venus, if you've learned anything in school, you'll know this planet's like a big fireball. All right, let's check our suit. I mean, I have a nice spacesuit, but all right, so maybe it's enough for the thermals. 40 radiation, 30 airborne. It's not really the best suit in the world. There's better out there. Well, maybe since this is a low-level area, they didn't make Venus as accurate to what it's supposed to be in terms of like a hot planet. Or I just have enough resistance that we're good. So, okay. Let's go ahead and travel to Mars. Going to Cydonia. All right, so here we are in Cydonia. We're gonna talk to our ship tech.
Anything I can help you with? Got anything you need to offload?
So let's see how many credits he has.
I'm sure you can find something you like.
Huh, that's weird. So it said vendor credits were increased. However, 72,000 is your standard for a ship vendor. So maybe it is only affected by your general shop keeps. I'm not sure. Because let's go ahead and make sure our settings are right here. Vendor credits increased. So maybe it doesn't affect your ship techs, which is kind of disappointing because it's nice to sell your ships unregistered. That trick still works, by the way. I'll link that video in the top right so you can check that out. My point is, though, sometimes you've got a fleet of ships that you stole that you want to sell. And if that's not affecting the ship vendors, then I'm not exactly sure why they would add that setting, unless it's just literally like your trade authority vendors and stuff like that. I don't know what this guy normally has, but
I can give you the same discount I give to locals. Take a look.
10,947, that seems pretty good. So let's bump it up to greatly increased.
Be safe out there. Hey, friendo. Just a reminder, I also bought...
Doesn't seem like the vendor credits setting is working, so this might be a bug. I changed it to greatly increased, and we're still sitting here at the exact same credit amount, 10,947 for the vendor. So this might be something that Bethesda needs to look into, because it doesn't appear to be working. Okay, so I checked my inventory, and I have my inventory on greatly increased. So that's showing, that's correct. That's showing 735. Because I remember we were on the planet, and I was like, well, it wasn't doing a whole lot when I was on an adverse planet either. So I was worried that none of the settings were working, but that one is working. Interesting. So that might just be another bug in this game that they need to fix. This FPS, once again, I can tell even in Sidonia. Sidonia is an area that is not super hard on the game, so I can tell this is pretty close to 60. I mean, it's a night and day difference at least if you're used to playing on PC. And then once the console players get a taste of it, they're never going to want to go back to 30 either. I've got a lot of friends who are console players, and they always seem to think that the FPS didn't matter back during the PS4 and the Xbox 360 days. And then these next-gen consoles come out, like the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, and they're all about the FPS now. They got it. They got the taste. They can't go back. And I like to remind them, I go, remember when you guys told me the FPS doesn't matter? Anyway, the 60 FPS is really nice. And again, it's not a locked, stable 60. I think there's still improvements to be made. Like maybe they could bring down the resolution to 1440p from 4K. But, you know, it's better than not having it at all. So the next improvement we're going to check out is essentially redecorating your ship. I'm not going to do the empty halves this time. I replaced the halves with the pre-built ones because it's more my style. Like this is my armory and whatnot. But with the new ship decorator, you can add to your existing halves, and I'll show you what I mean here. So if you go to your scanner, X for decorate. So you can essentially put furniture or whatever you want anywhere in here. So in this case, I was really stoked about this addition. This is a self-clearing bounty station that you can now place on your ship. And I like this spot right here. I'm gonna go ahead and put it right there. Exit out of the builder mode, hold B, and there you go. We've got ourselves now a self-clearing bounty station on our ship. For all the pirates out there. Or I saw a Reddit post. Someone said they stole from the new Chunks ship that they found in space, and they ended up with 6,000 credits worth of chunks. So if you're playing a survival game, that might be something you want to do. And last but not least, we're going to land on a planet, and we're going to try to get a ship to land. In the past, I've gone to this moon here, and this has been prime time for stealing ships. One of my earlier videos I did. All right, let's see what we can get here. Big money, big money, big money, big money, big money. There we go. We're back. Ships are now landing when you get out of your ship. That's what I'm talking about. My concerns were heard. Thank you, Bethesda. I appreciate it. All right, so we're gonna pull out our map here, go to our surface map, and let's see if we can go find that ship that just landed. All right, and there it is. Looks like it might be a, well, it's tough to say. Go check it out. I'll speed this up. Oh, Crimson Fleet Ghost. Sweet. Oh, wow. There's a lot of them here. I did not expect that. Oh, man. It took off before we could take it. I was wondering if that was still a thing. At first, man, it let me take those guys out for a while, and then it took off. But anyway, we can now steal ships again. We don't have to try to run in the opposite direction of a POI to try to get a ship to spawn. Some YouTube creators seem to think that it was a normal thing. I was still convinced that it was a bug and that it was something that they needed to fix. And turns out I was right about that one. So anyway, that'll do it for this video. I'm pretty happy with the direction that Bethesda's taking with this game. I can't wait to see when they implement vehicles as well as the next DLC. It does seem there are some settings, as we saw in this video, that they need to address. Like, it doesn't seem like the vendor credits are working. I'll have to do some more testing with that one. But overall, really good update. They also added quite a few bug fixes to this game, and the game's going in the right direction. 8 months, maybe too late, but at least they're fixing some of this stuff, and it's good to see the added improvements to this game. So anyway, if you guys like this kind of content, consider subscribing to the channel, and as always, have a wonderful day.